Hi everyone, it's Chrissy from firstdayofhome.com, and I wanted you to join me as I decorate this space in our breakfast room for Halloween. I really wanted to have some Halloween decor for my twin boys to enjoy. I found this table runner that I fell in love with, so this is going to be the base of my Halloween display, and then we'll start by decorating this tiered tray. Dollar Tree had a lot of wood crafts this year, and I spotted these little trays that I thought were super cute. They are really simple, and they have this cute little cutout with pumpkins, but instead of using it as a tray, I decided to make it into a wooden sign. I added a few coats of chalk paint all around, then I made this decal that says 31st October, and I will link to this file down below. I highly recommend visiting the site where I got this because they have a lot of free files for you. Now, if you don't have a Cricut machine to make your own decals, you can always use paint markers to draw on your own design, or you can buy some pre-cut designs on Etsy. By the way, for a project like this, you can always buy your vinyl at Dollar Tree. Since I'm going to use this as a stencil outline, I applied some Mod Podge all around my design before painting it black. The Mod Podge just helps to get really crisp lines when you're doing kind of a reverse stencil like this. As you can see, this sign has a nice rustic look with that dry brush effect. If you wanted to, you could also sand it to make it look a little more chippy or rustic. I'm placing it at the top of my tiered tray, and we'll add some more touches of black in a minute. In an earlier video, I showed how I took these Dollar Tree frames and added some vintage Halloween printables, which I will link to down in the description box. I had a few choices of a blackbird, a tarantula, and some other spooky designs, so you can download these for free if you follow the link below. I decided that this blackbird would be the perfect balance to that black wood sign on my tiered trays, so I'm going to put this on the bottom layer. I found these adorable mason jars at Dollar Tree. They come ready to put a candle inside so you can make your own luminaries. I decided to turn this one into a candy corn style mason jar. First, I added some painter's tape around sections of the jar to create my different color blocks. I started with the orange paint in the middle and let that completely dry before I moved on to the yellow section. Now, the critical mistake I made was I moved the painter's tape to keep the lines nice and straight when I painted the yellow and white sections, and that came back to bite me. You'll see in a second. When I went to remove the painter's tape, it took the paint with it. So this is just to let you know it happens to all of us. Fortunately, I was able to patch it up, and here's the finished mason jar. This is going to add a nice little pop of color. I went ahead and put an LED votive candle inside and placed it in my tray, but I noticed it was a little short, so I added this as a riser underneath. Because I loved these mason jars so much, I decided to make a second one with a buffalo plaid pattern. Again, I'm using painter's tape after I applied a base coat of chalk paint, and the painter's tape also comes in handy to space out your rows. For the first coat of paint, I made a nice light gray color and added it on 2 rows. Then I changed the direction of the tape to go vertical and spaced out rows to paint another layer of the same gray paint. Once that layer of paint has dried, you'll remove all of the tape, and then we're just going to mask every place except where our 2 gray bars overlap. In those spaces, we will add a black square, and that's going to really give us our buffalo plaid pattern. Once we remove all of the painter's tape, you'll see this actually turned out super cute. It really looks like a buffalo plaid pattern. It almost looks like the jar came this way. And just to finish it off, I thought it would look really cute with some little jute twine and a few little decorations that I think I bought at Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. I thought these little fall leaves would really add a nice touch and contrast with the black and white. I already had this scrap piece of wood from a swing set that my boys had, and my husband was shocked to see me actually using this and painting it because I've literally had this in the garage for years and decided that this little block would look really cute as a jack-o'-lantern. So I gave it a couple of coats of orange paint after I primed it, and then I cut out this little jack-o'-lantern face using my Cricut. Again, if you don't have a Cricut, no problem. You can always use paint pens or paint markers, and those would work just fine too. Once I had transferred my decal onto my wooden block, I thought it'd be fun to add a few extra cutesy details to this guy. So I found this wine bottle cork and decided to glue that on top and then add a little bit of this straw or raffia that I had on hand. I don't know what it was from, but I had it in my stash. So I wrapped that around along with a cute little Halloween ribbon that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I think this guy is so cute, and in fact, I have a few more blocks. I might make some more Halloween characters out of it. I also picked up this orange pumpkin at Dollar Tree that I thought would be perfect for my tiered tray and add another little pop of orange. In an earlier video, I made some velvet pumpkins that I also wanted to add to my tray. I went ahead and used a couple of those from this earlier tutorial that I'll link to up here if you want to go take a look. They're really easy and budget friendly to make, plus you can add a real pumpkin stem to make them look just like the ones that you see in boutique stores. I went ahead and added 2 of these velvet pumpkins to my tiered tray, one on the top and one on the bottom, just to help fill things in. Okay, if you grew up making cheesecloth ghosts as a kid, you have to leave me a comment down below. To get started, I covered a piece of styrofoam with a trash bag so that this could be a base for my ghosts. I then took a wooden bead, because that's what I had on hand, covered one of the holes with tape so that it would stay on this skewer, and then poked the skewer into the styrofoam. Since it's going to get a little messy, I'm taking some food wrap and placing it over each of my ghosts so that the glue will not stick to the wood. If you want to make it look like your ghost has arms, you can use more wooden skewers to give it some extra shape. Next, we'll want to cut a few squares of cheesecloth and prepare our glue. I'm mixing about 2 parts of Mod Podge with 1 part water. You can also use Elmer's glue instead, and I'll link to the full blog post with all of the details down in the description box. Once your cheesecloth is ready, you'll just place it over the wooden balls or foam balls, whatever you're using, and let it dry in place. After about a day or a day and a half, your ghost will look something like this, and then you can add a face using black felt or vinyl, whichever you prefer. Be sure to watch till the end for a special tip to make all of your Halloween decor even spookier. This little guy was the perfect addition to the bottom tier of my tray. The final piece of my tiered tray decor was making a little Halloween garland. I had these wooden beads already in my stash, so I decided to paint them in a combination of orange, black, and white. Then I strung them on some jute twine in alternating colors. I actually used the packaging on one of my Dollar Tree items to make a tassel for one end of the garland. It's really easy with this little piece of cardboard to make your tassel, and if you haven't learned how to make tassels, I will try to do a video all about that. I won't go into all of the details here, but if you want an easy way to do this, I will also link to a tassel maker down in the description box below. After attaching my tassel to the garland, I decided to make a cute little ornament for the other end. Back at Dollar Tree, I had spotted these wooden ornaments, and I thought that would make the perfect little accent for my wood bead garland. I took one of these pumpkin ornaments and decided to paint it with a base coat of orange before adding another decal that I made with Cricut. But before doing that, I went ahead and attached it to the garland and then just added some antiquing with a sponge around the edges. This decal was a little tricky because the letters were so thin. It's in the style of Ray Dunn, and you know how those letters are super skinny, so this would be a perfect project for a thin paint marker if you don't have a Cricut or just want another easy alternative. I'm in love, love, love with this little bead garland, and I think it added just the right touch to have something spilling over the edges of my tiered tray. Just to finish it all off, I added a few more faux pumpkins to fill in any gaps, and a few of these leaves that I also found at Dollar Tree just to add another pop of color. Be sure to comment below and let me know which of these tiered tray items is your favorite. I really am curious to know. I picked up this tin at Dollar Tree and wanted to give it a little makeover, so I started by sanding it to make the painting a little bit easier. I used 2 coats of chalk paint to completely cover up the design. I'm going for a Mackenzie Childs look, so we're going to paint a checkered pattern on this. I used a pencil to roughly sketch out my pattern before painting in the squares by hand. I will admit this part is a little bit tedious, but I think it was worthwhile in the end. I added in a few brush strokes of white paint just to make it look a little more distressed, and then added gold trim around the rim. As a final touch, I took it outside and sprayed some acrylic sealer to give it a nice glossy finish, and here's how it turned out. This is going to be the base of my Halloween tree, and I'm going to work on filling in the branches and ornaments next. I love using items from nature, and I had just trimmed some branches, so my boys helped me pick them out, and then I spray painted them black. I don't know if you've checked out the new plus aisle at Dollar Tree, but I am amazed at what they have. I found this cute box of ornaments. You could actually make a tic-tac-toe game out of it too, but I thought I would use the jack-o'-lanterns and bats out of this to make some cute ornaments for my Halloween tree. I just used hot glue to attach a small piece of ribbon to each of the ornaments. I also picked up these sparkly pumpkin ornaments at Dollar Tree as well. I started by inserting the painted branches into my little Mackenzie Childs tin, but I will confess that I thought these branches were a little too short, so I came back later and you'll see how I ended up adjusting a little bit by adding some taller branches later. I did add some moss around the base just to cover up that brown paper that I used to fill it, and I will say moss is pretty messy, so you can try to contain it, but just know there's going to be a little cleanup involved. I went ahead and added a few more of my little spooky ghosts to my Halloween scene, as well as on the Halloween tree. And here's what the tree looked like once I replaced it with taller branches. For my last DIY, I decided to use those same wooden ornaments I found at Dollar Tree and make a little Halloween banner. I gave the leaves a couple of coats of orange paint and then decided to decoupage the pumpkins. I'm not painting the backsides because I still am thinking about making this a reversible banner at some point. For the decoupage pumpkins, I decided to use these cute little checkered napkins to go with my Mackenzie Childs tin, so I separated the plies and just applied the top layer to the painted pumpkins. Once I applied the Mod Podge, I went around with a paintbrush that just had water on it to tear away the edges. I went ahead and applied a top coat of Mod Podge, but this is totally optional. If you'd rather have a matte look, you can skip this step. To create the banner, I just hung the ornaments on some jute twine and then attached it to the mirror in our breakfast room. I can't wait to hear which of these projects was your favorite, but I promised a bonus tip for you, so here it is. When I made the ghost, I mentioned that there was a way to make all of your Halloween decor a little spookier. Well, I discovered this paint that I will link to down in the description box that makes your decorations glow in the dark. I absolutely love this stuff, so I will link to it down below, and in the meantime, here's some more Halloween videos to watch. See you next time!